What a fellas to be like in the building. Fellas, today we are gonna be watching a video on Burning Crusade DPS Showdown. Fire Mage versus Fire Warlock. The video is from Hamster Wheel. He's a savage. Let's get into the video.
Hey guys, Hamster Wheel here, and welcome once again to the Showdown arena, where we had a bit of a comparison of classic gear versus Burning Crusade gear, and seeing if classic gear was viable and could give Burning Crusade gear a run for its money. Today though, we are focusing on only two classes and two specs.
Warlock is gonna be more viable. I know that in classic, Mage is the top beast, like in DPS, Mage is in the top. But in TBC, we are switching it up, baby. Warlock is #1 now.
I'm talking about the Fire Destruction Warlock and the Fire Mage. And today we'll see who is the King of Fire in the Burning Crusade. So here's how it's gonna happen. These two classes will go head to head in a little DPS contest to see who can do the most amount of DPS. And like my previous videos, we're going to go over multiple gear levels. The first level is just some run-of-the-mill Burning Crusade blues. Level 2 is going to be pre-rate best in slot, where we see some really powerful items like the Spell Strike and Spell Fire set.
Those are actually really cool. God damn. And this set is looking beast. Like, if I was a TBC high beast, this is what I would wear.
Best in slot, where we see some really powerful items like the Spell Strike and Spell Fire set. Level 3 is one step up with tier 4 rating gear. And finally, to finish things off, we're going big and putting on some...
It's amazing. Like, you gotta admit, this is a savage set. The Mage set is okay, but I wanna say is the top, you know what I'm saying? But the Warlock one is... Warlocks, I feel like they are always having better looking sets than the Mages. But the worst sets
very powerful
are, in my opinion, the Priest one. It's like, I understand, but still you can be doing... Actually, in TBC there is one set that is really good for Priest. That is actually really good. Priest sets. Let me just show you really quickly. The Priest set. This set is actually pretty decent. This set from TBC for a Priest is amazing. Like, look at this. This is what I like to see. You got this like lady that got like a blindfolded eyes, and your helm is actually glowing. This set is the best looking Priest set in my opinion. This is just savage set.
Full tier 6 rating gear. Every gear level will be tested with multiple DPS runs, and an average will determine how much DPS can be done for each class and spec and the gear they're wearing. So without further ado, let's check out our two competitors. So first off, the good old Fire Mage, who became viable in Classic when ZG launched and became the go-to spec for any mage who was raiding Ankiraj and Next Ramos. In TBC, Fire is definitely a good choice for DPS, though on later gear levels, Arcane really starts to give Fire a run for its money. However, since this is about who's better at throwing Fire DPS, we'll stick with this spec for now.
The best spec in TBC. Like, also Frost Mage is viable, Arcane Frost is also viable, but I think Fire is the top. It's still the top.
The Mage, in terms of its damage, will mostly rely on Fireball and keeping up 5 stacks of Scorch for that tasty 15% fire damage bonus to the target. Then we move on to the Fire Destruction Warlock, a new addition to the option list of PvE specs in the Burning Crusade with the introduction of a little spell called Incinerate, which made the Warlocks do a lot of damage in combination with Conflagrate and Immolate. Another trick up the Firelock sleeve is the Talon Demonic Sacrifice, which gives them 15% extra damage for all fire spells when they sacrifice
finally, the Warlock
their
is
imp.
going to be having a little bit better rotation than Classic. In Classic, he's spamming basically Shadow Bolts, but actually I think that the best spec is going to be still like Shadow Bolt Warlock, and he's still going to be spamming only Shadow Bolts at the end in TBC.
So basically, the Firelock is a mix of a couple of talents in the Demonology tree for that Demonic Sacrifice, and the rest in the Destruction tree to strengthen the heavy and direct damage that Immolate, Conflagrate, and Incinerate offer. And while Warlocks can benefit from the 15% fire damage from Scorch, the Mages can't benefit from the 15% fire damage from Demonic Sacrifice, so that does give the Fire Warlock an edge over the Mage. Can the Mage, however, fend off the Firelock, or does it have to hand over the Fiery Crown to the new kid in town? Well, let's find out. So we're starting off with gear level 1, and the Fire Mage did 1040.5 DPS. A pretty good number, but what did the Warlock do? Well, the Warlock did 1221.6 DPS.
We are switching it up, baby. Like, what I really don't like about Warlocks in Classic is that they are having a lot of issues with the threat. And they're going to be pulling the threat all the time, even though they are not doing so much DPS. And that's kind of sad. So that's why they need the Blessing of Salvation from the Paladins. But at the same time, they also need a lot of hit because they don't have any like talents that are reducing the resistance. So they're going to be actually struggling a lot, and they're going to be resisting a lot of spells. And even though they are resisting a lot of spells, their spells are getting resisted, they are still going to be pulling threat. So a lot of issues for Warlocks in Classic.
Yes. So the first round goes to the Firelock. Round 2 is with pre-raid best in slot gear. The Fire Mage managed to get a good bump in DPS and did a respectable 1338.9 DPS. Definitely nothing to be ashamed of. So, can the Fire Mage beat the DPS of the Firelock in this gear level, or will the Firelock win another round? Well, the Firelock did 1483.6 DPS, so yes, that is another point for the Warlock. Round 3 is with added tier 4 rating gear like the Spellblade from Gruul's Lair, some tier gear and some other nice epics. The Fire Mage did 1407.6 DPS, which unfortunately cannot even match the Firelock's pre-raid best in slot gear. So you think with a gear upgrade the Firelock would pull out even more, right? Well, you're correct. The Firelock did a pretty hefty 1576.9 DPS. So currently it's looking pretty bleak for the Fire Mage.
But the Mage is still going to be really a viable spec in TBC. And the reason for that is that a lot of bosses are not going to be melee friendly, and everybody is going to be needing a mage, you know, for the intellect buffs and stuff like that. So yeah.
The Firelock sitting on 3 points and the Mage sitting on 0. But it has one shot left to win a round, which is round 4. Okay, time for the final round with tier 6 rating gear. The Fire Mage pulled off an average DPS of 1767.2 DPS. So, will the Firelock take everything, or can the Fire Mage take one round? Well, the Firelock in this gear did an average of 1999.1 DPS, which means the Firelock dominated this DPS test with a 4-2-0 win over the Fire Mage. And it just goes to show that while both can do solid DPS, the Firelock is definitely not something to be underestimated. And well, there you have it, folks, our DPS showdown for the day, and our King of Fire is the Firelock. As said in my previous videos, I'd like you to keep in mind that this is not a 100% accurate simulation of raid DPS, as I didn't have to take tactics and positioning in mind, as well as a ton of other raid factors that come into play when you're actually raiding. But it was really fun to see who does the better DPS, and as it turns out, based on this test at least, the Warlock beats out the Mage at its own game. Of course, if we feature the Fire Destruction Warlock, I think it's only fair to also put the Shadow Destruction Warlock up on the chopping block as well, as that's probably going to be the much more popular choice for people who are going to go Destruction with that demonic sacrifice.
Warlock is going to be more popular, and it's going to be doing more DPS. My guess is that Shadow Warlock with Hunters, they're going to be top 2 in the DPS meters.
Talent. It's just a question of who he should go up against, and maybe you have a good suggestion for who might be a worthy competitor. So let me know in the comments below.
Shadow Warlock against Hunter. We can be also doing Shadow Warlock against Shadow Priest, but I think it's going to be kind of obvious that Shadow Priest is going to be losing, and the reason for that is that Shadow Priest is actually really viable in TBC rating. But the issue that I have is that Shadow Priest is kind of like a mana battery for your group. Is that he's actually bringing a lot of utility with like okay DPS. But what Warlock is bringing, he's bringing Soulstone, Hellstones and stuff like that. But he's bringing massive. He's like the carry of the DPS. And Shadow Priest is more like kind of like a support for the healers. So he's like recharging their mana. So Shadow Warlock versus Shadow Priest is not going to be that fair in my opinion. but I would say Hunter. There's just nobody else, bro.
As always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamster Wheel and have a good one.
Leave me a like. Plus, please go to Hamster Wheel's video and leave a like on the video. Watch the video also over there. Leave a nice comment. He's really a good content creator. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and write me in the comments what video am I supposed to be checking in the next one. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.